Well, we just celebrated. Oh, I like how it's zooming in on me. We just celebrated 6 years of Please Do Tell, and now we're in Black Business Month, which means this episode was always going to be about what it means to build something and keep building it, and keep building it when the world doesn't always make that easy. Hmm. Welcome back, my homies, to another episode of the Please Do Tell podcast. I'm your homegirl, Ronnika, and I have the pleasure of being joined with
Hey, hey, it's me, it's Jeffrey. What's going on, Ronnika? How you doing today?
just out here trying to function.
All right,
Yeah.
now. All right, now. Yeah, I'm a Jeffrey Bean today. So I'm gonna be as solid as possible.
Oh,
When we talking about business, so you want to come with your collar together. I almost wore an actual uh tie today
oh,
just to go with the theme.
he wanted to be buttoned up all the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Putting your best foot forward. I got
But the
it.
Cubs showed up, so I had to.
Okay. The cups. All right. All right. We just have to remember that Jeffrey's always in sports mode.
You better believe it. It's always a sport to ponder. And, football is like, itching around here. Like,
Oh,
not preseason, but like regular season. September, baby.
so looking forward to it. You all know what we go through during that season.
Mm, that's good. It almost dips all the way till October. Then you have the fall baseball classic, which is the World Series, the beginning of basketball. Football is mid-season. Yeah, it's college for people that like college football. It's hot. It's mid-season. So we're getting there. I notice myself smiling more like the sun every day, knowing that football is on its way. Yeah.
And I just cry a little bit more inside.
Why?
Yeah.
Look, I was talking to a friend of mine. They were like, I even miss football.
Yeah.
They's like, I miss the camaraderie with it that come with it. Like if you can put it on and even if you kind of paying attention, but during the week, somebody's gonna probably mention what was on that game and you could be like, oh yeah, I saw it too. And so Americans like the camaraderie. It's not about the game. It's the camaraderie.
Yes, it is. Because if you've never seen that video of Jeffrey chugging after it was Saints versus Raiders
Raiders. Mhm.
game,
Yep,
had to
yep,
be there, but that was in real time that we were able.
yeah.
Yeah, it was what a time.
Took the took the beer, it was you're in the moment, it's with, football fans, threw the beer. He threw the beer, y'all, and I dropped it. In the heat of the moment, you can't drop it. So right then, you drop it, you earned it. So, yep, yep, yep.
Crazy.
Renika has the leaked footage.
I do.
I'd say leaked because I just thought it was a memory, and she showed me she had the documentation.
Yes. I was right there recording, yes. Chug a
Yeah.
look, chug a look,
Yeah,
chug a look, chug a
yeah.
look. You all I don't know if you noticed, but most of the episodes, I'm usually wearing, like, a shade of either, like, a red or a pink. I've done nude a few times, but I just wanna also point out that this is from a Black-owned business, Lip Bar, who's also Sora. So, I make sure that I try to wear the vibrant colors that look good on what? A Black girl. So, this is Lip Bar, and I'm wearing a throwback shirt that says "Black Girls Who Blog," established in 2014. Is that when I started blogging? I feel like I started blogging in, like, 2015, 2016. So, decade in of telling our stories our way, and that's why I'm excited about mu Black Biz of course, I'm always excited about Black Music Month, but Black Business Month is probably close second.
So I got a question for you because I want to make sure we get a proper shout out to him. You said the first business was named what?
The Lip Bar.
The Lip Bar. Where's the Lip Bar located?
So they are mostly online, but they have a, store in Detroit.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to what is it? Through Instagram or something?
No, you could just go to their website, The Lip Bar.
Okay. All right. That's
They're
what's up.
in
That's what's
stores
up.
that I would not like to mention, so they do have an online presence. Clearly, they have an online store, and yeah, but they have their own, brick and mortar in Detroit.
Cool. 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 And what was the second one?
Well, this is an old shirt, Black Girls Who Blog. I don't even remember where I got this from, so I guess I would be the business. Support Please Do Tell podcast. That means sharing, subscribing, leaving a review. This is how it gets in front of more people. So that is our Black-owned business that we do want you to support.
Hmm.
Please and thank
Sound
you.
like you the birthday.
What? Stay the birthday. Every day is the birthday. Act like you know Black what you heard. Is there a Black business that you wanna highlight that you have supported here recently, and why?
Um, I don't want to say what I was initially going to say. None sticks out, but I will through this episode. I know I will, but none like really stuck out like right then. Um, I really want to go right towards food, but I do a lot of cooking. I don't want to say just a black business supporting black community. I had
Mm,
just yesterday I had an opportunity to because it was National Night Out. And so I had an opportunity to serve 200 hot dogs and 200, burgers to the community. So, that's kinda like the give. Like,
yeah.
we're about the business, but, sometimes you gotta feed somebody to get them nourishment so they can go think about
Hello.
creating business. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was cool. That was cool. Yeah.
I love it.
Mm.
Alright, so we're
You're
gonna
not there in the community. That's all you have to do, reach one, teach one.
okay. We know that so we're recording on August 5th, which I don't know if you saw it. We're probably gonna talk about this and if you know, you know. Because speaking of, like, community sticking together, today also is the, anniversary of our Chairteenth, as people have been calling it. This was the, Montgomery
You said the churching?
they've been calling it the Chairteenth, like Juneteenth, they've been calling it the
Okay,
Chairteenth.
charity. Okay, okay, okay.
And, I
Well, we'll put a name on something.
know we will. And
Yeah.
it came up in my memories when I was actually there and taking pictures in Montgomery and even meeting a few people that were on the boat that day that were laying hands on folks. So, when
You
I was
met
yeah,
wow,
number and
wow, wow.
everything. Yes.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yes. It was crazy. It's crazy. But, we're gonna just go right into the personal door, our own stories of building. I know that Jeffrey has talked about in the past about even, um, this is also connecting it back to if you know, you know as well, is Jeffrey has always been big into politics. So we also know that that's also a part of just this whole flowing of what entrepreneurial, skills or just pursuits looks like, but I'm also gonna dive into a little bit about why I even started Story Salon, and yeah, so Jeffrey is with us because you was looking a little you're looking, like,
Hey,
really
look,
focused.
look, when I looked at myself, I was like, "Okay, take that little" as my I was thinking it took me back to a little kid when my mama used to be like, "Why are you, like, looking so mean?"
Yeah,
I was like, "Okay, get that off. Yeah,
yeah. I was like, as
wipe it
my
off your
daddy would
face."
say, You're showing your thoughts on your face."
Right. 'Cause I was thinking hard, like, "Okay, where am I going?" Too funny.
I was like, "Let me pull him back." I was like, "Let me"
Don't call me out.
I was just pulling you back. I was like, "Hey, here we are. Here
Mm-mm.
we are." Alright, you all, I know people have asked me before, I've even maybe talked about it briefly on the podcast about Story Salon. So Story Salon was actually birthed in the Phoenix Cafe downtown Benton Harbor, Michigan. I was meeting with my, life coach, Mark Strauss at the time, and, It was really my push to walk away from the nonprofit that Jeffrey and I were working for and establish something of our own. It was almost like the FUBU, the for you by us, for you by you, for you by us method because I got tired of seeing everyone else telling our stories but not telling them accurately, not telling them just deciding to just kind of pick apart our stories. I wanted to tell them authentically, so I started with the Final 48 Project, which is a journey of grief in the Black community. But I said I want something to live on when it comes to like Black community and our stories. And what does that look like? Like we've done multiple migrations, we've done so many things that are not highlighted. And I think it also stems from us, Jeffrey and I being in the same elementary class, is that I remember being done with my work and going through the textbook and seeing that slavery was just one paragraph. And it was like, let's move along. And I said, oh, no, no, no. We have so many more stories to tell outside of just that. So that was the real push for starting Story Salon and just having a background in archives and just knowing that so many things live and breathe within documents and photos and just being passing down these stories, just how important it is. So yeah, that's why it started. That's why it's gonna stay.
Look, when you first decided, I was like, "Man," but you always had, like, an ambition on or you always had a vision on what you wanted to do, you know what I mean? So, just seeing the transition from it becoming where we didn't wanna be a part of I don't wanna say we didn't want to, 'cause I can't put words in your mouth, but I think that it was at a point of growth. And so at a point of growth, it's like, well, what do I do in a fishbowl that I'm in? Because I always looked at it like, there's only like 4 good jobs that in my generation that set you up from a college degree standpoint. So from that standpoint, if you got a 25% chance you're gonna work at one of these places, and then you have to make the decision like, okay, if I don't want to do this one, then now my chances have really dwindled down. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things of a leap of faith, of real entrepreneurship. So um, a lot of people have the ideal of what they want to do, but you actually did it, and I want to give that as a good transition where it talks about, you know, me. I've never ran a business per se. However, I've seen black businesses open and close, like, my whole life, and I remember, like, hearing as a kid, like, my mom I remember her sisters used to be like, "Oh, we wanna open up, like, this store, where we can sell, like, cleaning products," because that was kinda like the entrepreneurial '60s, '70s era just after civil rights, but things become so easier to or more simplistic in our nature of us wanting to do that we were okay being a cog than actually being the wheel. And so that's why you see a lot of our like black businesses is kind of dwindle away because I know that it's about, one says, hey, we don't want to spend money or, it's too expensive, but people spend what they want.
Mhm.
And one of the biggest consumers is just black people, period. And you can check Forbes. I'm just gonna cite it. So from that standpoint, uh, with you knowing that, you just gotta make sure that you're catering to their needs. And what I mean by to their needs is a lot for people of color, it's the aesthetic, it's the greeting, it's the entry, it's
Mm.
the conversation. All of that can just stain you away. That's why when you go into a place and using it from a perspective of being like a waiter or a waitress, and you get that wrong, and it's a done deal. It's a wrap. Like, you can't come back from it. Like, I don't give a damn how much you please and give extra and take off. It is done because those aesthetics matter because, through our matriculation here, um, aesthetically, we had to be pristine.
Mhm.
So,
Like,
that's
mhm.
why we come in like, "This place needs to be pristine." It can even be our own people plate, and we like, "They can do better."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just, because typically, we've been that customer service person, whether it's from slavery all the way up to the customer service rep,
Mhm.
you know? So
Hmm. Woo! Think, and I know I'll talk about this more in an upcoming segment, is that I was able to see in real time parents that were entrepreneurs after retirement. And, I would hear these stories about, you remember Mr. Woods, which was one of our administrators in high school. Um, it was when my dad was sick. Which time was he in the hospital? I wanna say 2011? Is that when I came home? Yeah, 2011, and he was in my dad's hospital room, and he said, Mr. Williams," which was my dad's dad, "Mr. Williams had, all kind of streams of income, but, he was cutting our hair, he was, the notary, he was, justice of the peace," and I'm just sitting up here like, I knew him as granddad. Like, yeah, I knew about him owning property, but and I mean, he was really big on, especially when we had primaries, which was yesterday. My granddad was really big on voting. So, that was he wasn't finna buy you no car, no get no, you finna register to vote on your 18th birthday or right before your 18th birthday because I'm gonna take you to vote.
don't be playing around.
We not playing these games.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a generation of seeing my grandparents and my parents. I mean, my grandmother had a soul food restaurant downtown. Crazy. I never worked in there. It was
I remember that restaurant.
Tammy's restaurant.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember it. I remember it clean as day. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I remember it clean as day because we used to go down there and, because they were friends. So
Yeah.
we used to go down there and get the food. Yeah, no lie. No lie. Because they was like one of the only black business. You know, when we grew up, down there in Benton Harbor, during our era of the 80s and 90s, you're talking about crack cocaine, industrial moving. So you went from people having this robust income in the industrial field to now from the matriculation from the 70s to 80s that you have drugs, no
Mhm.
high unemployment.
Mhm.
So we didn't get a chance to see this booming 40s, 50s, 60s of businesses in a downtown space. Now we grew up, it's tumbleweeds flowing down, Main Street in the 80s and the 90s to cite Commissioner Henry, as he used to say. It was tumbleweeds when we came into office, coming down Main Street. Now you're seeing things being built. And that
Mhm.
was as we go into the 2000s. But I remember there was tumbleweeds down there right off Wall Street because that's where they business is at. That takes me right back there, and going in there and ordering food. But because not a lot of people live downtown, it wasn't a good space,
Yeah.
as in you don't get as good traffic. But because you're trying to be a leader and a leader in the community, say, "Hey, I'm gonna be that first business that take that chance, and we're gonna build up on." It happened. It happened. You know, but
And
yeah, I do remember that.
I think it's beautiful now and to see that there is a soul food restaurant in a former Black-owned business, which was Leon's Barbershop, which is now Hello Beautiful Eats, which is really cool to see. Like, my sister said, "Okay," she saw a food review from the Black Jesus. Y'all don't start. 'Cause that name
Mm.
she was like, I read that name like, "Wait a minute." So, he did a food review at Hello Beautiful East downtown Ben Harbor, and she said, "I'm trying to visualize where this place is." I was like, "Leon." She said, "Oh my gosh. Okay." So, we're seeing the, I would say the revitalization of downtown. You're seeing more things coming back. So it's just it's exciting to see. And that's why I think it's really important to celebrate these Black businesses that are trying to stick in there and then reminding us that like, okay, we also gonna hold you accountable when it comes to like good service and hopefully not slam, but kind of pulling somebody's coattail like, hey, I ain't trying to embarrass you on social media, but let me tell you what you can do to improve. And if you all don't know, like Black Business Month was actually established in 2004. So it's been around for 22 years. And it's just really to celebrate and invest in Black owned businesses. So I don't think I'd said that before, but so once this shirt was even created or this tie was even created, we was already 10 years in. So what has changed in the last 6 years for Black businesses? What's better and what's still broken?
Well, in my opinion, it's I think I really like how I'm all into the restaurant scene. I'm kinda like a little foodie,
Mhm.
so I really like to, like, go to restaurants. An example where you wanted me earlier to talk about one, I would say is Amina's in Philadelphia. Black-owned restaurant, really good food, really good ambiance, really good people, really good seating. Didn't feel overcrowded, but still felt a little communal. That's what the Black experience is about. So, um I think over the last 5, 6 years, obviously cost is killing everybody,
Mhm.
everything is costing, and whether it's not costing or the recall. So, like, you don't even know what you can have on your menu, and then, of course, that plays with your aesthetic, because then you gotta keep switching your menu, blah, blah, blah. But I do like how in the last 10 years, the, um, evolution of brunch for Black people
Mm, mhm,
and
mhm.
how it has given us an opportunity to get outside and go to different restaurants. I think that it has because there's goods and I think it slowed down people who know how to cook, but it has given an opportunity for you to experience other venues. And typically, a lot of people want to patronize, you know, their own kind.
Mhm.
And that's just like if you with the halals, or if you're talking about, what's another one? Your Spanish food. I mean, it's just natural. You want to get, it's like a home cooked meal. So, what do you think?
Gonna go right into something else, so then it's like, of course, I had just lost my train of thought. But I
Nobody started laughing at me.
already, like, zoomed in on something else, like, "Wait a minute, I wanted to really talk about this," is because my question to you was gonna when we even think about, like, our expectations and what that looks like is, did you ever get a chance to experience the turkey leg hut when it was in Houston, Texas?
I've only been to Houston twice, and if it is it was it did it go out of business?
Yes.
Okay, so I think by the time I got to Houston, it was already gone.
Okay. 'Cause I feel like shout out to Cedric, whose birthday is actually tomorrow. Um,
Happy early birthday.
happy early birthday. We actually went. There's pictures of it. I believe it was it pre-pandemic? It might have been right before. Maybe it was 2019. I know there's pictures, there's video, there's all of that. And I think that was around the time when they first opened. and they were on, I believe it's pronounced Almeda, because I was not far from it. The apartment that I had on Benz in the museum district in Houston. I think that's 4 Ford. Don't stone me, y'all. It's been over a decade since I've stayed there, okay? But I remember we went and
We going.
huh?
When we going?
Oh,
No, 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 don't let me distract you.
like
Go
I'm
no,
like,
keep
we
going, keep
clearly
going.
need
No,
to
no,
go
keep
back.
going.
We clearly
Keep
need to
going.
go back because it's a time. But Cedric and I went. I was able to try the one of the turkey legs, and it was one of those situations where I'm gonna be patient because it's a black owned business. It's packed as I don't know what, and I want them to win. But then where does it come the time where it's like, okay, when do we get the logistics together? When does this wait time decrease from 2 hours to maybe 30 minutes, and what does that look like? So I'm seeing so many businesses, especially during COVID, just closing their doors because they can't get their logistics together. They can't get that flow of the business really together. Yeah, they're making money, but you can't keep the money if you can't keep the people coming in the door. So I
But, you know,
go ahead.
people come in masses and stuff like that. I mean, you gotta be able that's marketing, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so we know that people come during the little brunch spots, then maybe we need to run a special right after brunch, so people can't run into a special right before brunch and then give, like, a time limit. Like, "Okay, we're gonna run a special that's for an hour," and it runs and it shuts down 30 minutes before brunch starts.
Mm,
That way we can still get the same amount of patrons, but you gotta get up and you ain't gotta go home, but you gotta leave here, you know? Or even change the music. And what I mean by change the music, changing of a DJ. I know that could be costly, but change your playlist. Play gospel, church music, all the way up to you at 11 o'clock. They ain't even really up in there doing where your real numbers at. You know what I'm saying? And then take it in the evening instead of going more hip hop, go R&B in the evening. So these are the classy people that say, "Oh, I don't want to do brunch," and then they can do a Sunday evening and kind of wind up.
this one be having all the answers.
Look, I mean, I've been in venue. I've been in venue.
We've been in venues, we've been, because it instantly took me back to when we were in DC last summer, because that also came up in my memories, and how that vibe just switched from being just a regular brunch to, "Oh, now it's a function." The DJ has come in,
Mhm.
people don't wanna leave, we didn't wanna leave, and even when I've been to New York, and I believe we've been to this brunch spot maybe twice. You know which one I'm talking about? It's with a DJ and everything. I remember I lost my mind in there at one time because I was like, "They are playing all my songs, all my
Mm-mm, I
songs."
don't know that spot. Don't get me out here. They ain't sponsored us.
Oh, that's
I
okay.
don't remember. I
Alright,
don't
so you
remember.
you could just say, "Yeah, I know what you're talking about," and he yeah.
Yeah, the one in Harlem.
Mhm.
I know exactly because one of my favorite spots. I ain't gonna give it up to 'em. I ain't gonna give up the good cookies.
'Cause he don't want y'all coming up in there. He's like, "This my
Yeah,
spot,
yeah,
and I'm sick."
yeah. I really like it. I really like it.
I mean, clearly, I told you I've been twice. 2 different crowds. Been twice.
Yep. Yep.
Been twice. Okay, y'all, we just gonna fly right into, it's my favorite segment. I know you're probably thinking like, "It's all of them," but this is our
Yeah, I was like,
business that raised us segment, At the Playground.
you know.
Playground.
Look, you low key, I almost missed it. All I heard was no. Ah, you know, that's all I heard from the no. And the way that you said it, because according to mixed reviews, you can sing. But the way that you sound at that moment. See, I knew how to butter you up. See, the way that you sounded at that moment, I was like, okay, you gotta chime in. You gotta chime in. This is look, we don't have it on a soundboard. This is like real.
every time. And my sister, who
For
just
real, every
celebrated
week.
a birthday yesterday, she will appreciate me singing in this mic, singing in this mic,
Mm-mm,
singing,
mm-mm.
singing, singing in this mic, 'cause I'm at the playground and we ready to talk. Okay.
Come on.
Hmm.
Mm-mm-mm.
The black-owned business your family went to without question, the one that was just part of the routine.
Black-owned business, the whites.
Tell me more.
That was, the whites. The whites in our hometown, Mr. White, Mr. Of course, because I was born in the '80s, and you don't know older people first name.
Oh,
That's why I said the white. So then I had to
woo.
start jogging. The whites, me and his daughter and I, excuse me, y'all. His daughter and I graduated high school together, Alicia. And then I was like, the whites.
My
Oh,
goodness.
Mr.
Uh-huh.
Eddie White. Mr. Eddie White was probably one of the first black owned businesses that I can remember because he was a seamstress, which is rare that it was a male seamstress in the city. And a lot of families knew that if you had something, I mean, because during this era, most people knew how to sew. If you
Mhm.
were a man and you went to the military, you knew how to sew. And if you were a woman, then naturally, because of the system during that era, they taught you how to sew. Well, even those individuals said, "Hey, no, he's the best." You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Eddie White, he's the first
Ooh.
black business that I can remember um as a seamstress. And then the second one, but I don't want to put it out there, but I knew because I didn't know if it was on the books or not. But you know, I know this lady used to do everybody taxes. So that's all I can say. I'll let her granddaughter tell you if you want to tell.
He talking about my grandma, y'all. She was doing some
Yeah,
of everything.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
you
Your
heard me
grandma used
say
to do everybody
she had a
taxes.
soul food restaurant. She was doing taxes. She was a seamstress. Listen, that woman was doing some of everything.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. She sold a couple things for my grandma too, but she damn sure did a tax.
Mhm.
'Cause, that's when they come over there with all their paperwork and it's got a rubber band around,
Yes. She kept a
and
rubber
then on the
band on her wrist. Yes.
then
Yes.
top got a bill of sale
Mm.
that tell you how much you getting and how much she getting from what you get. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's her granddaughter over as she pointed to me, I'm gonna point at her. Let me point over here.
Hey,
That's
guys.
her granddaughter. Yep,
Hey.
yep. Actually, I actually seen Ronnika, I think, one time, but we didn't even really we had knew each other from it's like, Ronnika and I knew each other since preschool, but after preschool, maybe a year or 2 in between, we hadn't seen each other, and I remember running into her, but we kinda knew each other, but we didn't even say anything. This is before I went to Boynton.
Yes.
So, then we knew each other from Boynton and every other school in between, but I remember seeing her at her grandma's house, and, oh, I know her. And I remember she kinda looked at me, she know me, but it was like, on to the next. We
Yeah.
little kids, don't know, like, "Oh,
Don't be in
where
that
you
boy's
yeah,
face.
where you going here?" Right,
Don't
right,
be in that little boy's face.
as the girl, she can't be in my face, and I can't be too aggressive. So, yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead about your business. Yeah,
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
funny. So those are the 2 that I remember.
That's a
That's
good one.
Eddie White and, can I say her name?
You sure can.
Okay, Miss Betty Smith. Yeah, yeah, or as I know her from the church, Miss Betty,
Miss Betty.
and don't play in her face.
Don't play. You better put a handle on whenever you are addressing her.
Now,
But
mind you, one of my favorite people as a kid, when I was a little kid in the church, because all of them went to church together, and just throw this look, all these old women went to church, and I had my grandma around, because I was raised by my grandma, and so all of them knew each other, but one of my favorite older people was just so happened to be Miss Betty's twin. Now, Miss Betty's twin, you could play around with her. And as a kid, I'm a little kid, 5, 6 years old. I play around with her. She playing with me. Maybe put a quarter in my ear or something like that. Give me $1. Now, Miss Betty, no way. I was told, don't play with her like that. Now, mind you, they're twins. They're twins. Like, you have to look at them. Like, I'm 5, 6 years old. I can't decipher between them two. I couldn't tell the difference. So I remember one time going up and trying to. It didn't end so well. It was one of those said, "No, not Ernestine is over there." So, no, no, she was all about business. She was all about getting things done. You don't play with Miss Betty. My grandma taught me that. She was like, don't play with her like that. She's mean. She's mean. Yeah, she's mean. So, as a kid, I'm a little kid. I don't want to be meaned.
Mhm.
Ah, you know what I mean? Not maimed, but meaned. She may
Oh,
do both. Yeah, yeah.
listen.
If Miss Betty give you them eyes, she'll look at you and buck her eyes at you. You're like, oh my God. Like, who is like that's an intimidator right there. Mm, mm, yeah. Yeah, I remember your grandma. Yeah, I stayed out of her way.
Yeah, you
I
better.
stayed out of her way.
I'm like, what kind of day? You knew what type of day she was having by the way she answered the phone. I said,
Mm,
I probably shouldn't
yeah.
ask her about nothing today.
Mm.
All right. Well, I'll just try again tomorrow. Like those are vivid memories. I'm like, you hold your breath until she answers the phone. Like, oh, how's she gonna answer it today?
Just mean. Like, what do you want?
I mean, as my granddaddy said, she's still mean.
That's bad when you when granddaddy say, yeah, she's mean.
Ah, yes. It was her
She's still mean.
ex-husband. He was on his deathbed. He said, "How's Betty? She still mean?" Yes. Yeah. Yeah, ain't nothing changed, bruh. Ain't nothing changed.
Especially and you ain't come on now, player.
You already knew.
Yeah.
You know the stories. Like, you was there. You lived through 'em. Yeah, she's still mean. So when you talk about a Black entrepreneur in our community who everybody knew what they built and what it meant, it made me think about not only my Aunt Ernestine, but it also made me think about Mr. Shern on the corner of Empire and Colfax, right across from Good Harbor High School. The
Sherm Auto.
Yes.
Was that Miss Betty Sherm her husband?
That I don't even know because I just only knew him by Mr. Shern.
Okay, I know Betty Sherm that used to on the cleaner. On
What?
that's the one that on where
That
y'all
was
had
Betty? I swear I just talked about her. Ooh. It was probably even this past weekend. Cause they were like, "Yeah, you don't know Bobby Cleaners." I was like, "No, I know Betty's Cleaners." Betty's Cleaners. I was like, "Clearly so you didn't patronize Betty's?"
Betty Sherm, she, again, I'm citing y'all. All these people went to church together. My grandma, your grandma, Miss Sherm, all them, they went to church together. And
What?
I would have to get up and go do stuff for them. Like, cause they had got older. So they needed like somebody to do stuff around. And so, yeah, Miss Sherm, she had them cleaners right there.
No
And her
way.
son owned the cleaners, but, you know, I remember when y'all had y'all 10-year class reunion. I think it was in
Yes,
the
we had a party up in there. A party.
in the building. Cause then, they had sold the building.
Yeah.
It's time to sell the building and see whatever you can, we ain't the cleaners no more.
Mhm.
Yep. So,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
Miss Sherm.
Now I'm gonna have to investigate.
Shurn. Now it's crazy. I don't know if that was the same. It was the same family. I would have to jog my memory. I would have to go back to like listening to WSJM 1400 and trying to listen to my ear hustling on my grandma talk to her friend. I would have to take myself back there to
Sir.
actually remember if they were connected. You'd be like, oh yeah, they did have that conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
But, cause I remember Shern's Body Shop right there at that corner.
Y'all.
Yep, yep.
Sure, even after I moved back here and moved back to Ben Harbor in 2016. Yeah, 2016. And I remember I was having issues with my car, like, around 2017, around that time, and I took it to Sherns, and before I could even pull up and get out the car, he said, "I know this face. How do I know this face?" I said, Ronnie." Yes! Ronnie's daughter. "What's yes, get out. What's going on?" So I told him, he said, "Ooh," and he was so honest, and this is what I appreciate. He said, "Imma have to do some research," because he said, "I don't know anything about a push button, push to start." And that could have been one of those situations where, like, "Yeah, I can figure it out. I can fix it." And he could have totally screwed it up, but he said, "No, I'm gonna tell you where to go or where Imma suggest where you should go because I don't have any experience with that." He said, I just tinker around with the old stuff." And that was one of those moments where I said, "This is the village looking out for me," because that could have really just went. Because the person that was working on it totally screwed me over. I ain't finna give his name because Jeffrey know who I'm talking about, but totally screwed me over. So when I went to Mr. Sherman, he said, "No, you probably need to go back to a dealership or go to a dealership." And I just remember I wanted to cry in that moment, but I can remember being in high school and we still had this pickup truck. It's my dad's '94 GMC Sierra, and my dad was picking up me and Deshaun, and I don't know if it was, like, after, because Deshaun wasn't in the band, so maybe it was just, like, extracurriculars, he was picking us up after school, so clearly this was before I had my license, because he wasn't playing that. Like, "Oh, you better just drive yourself home." So, he had picked us up, and his transmission went out, and I remember him telling Deshaun, "You gonna have to get out. I can't even reverse. I just have to go forward." So he dropped Deshaun off, and then we went up to Sherns, and Shern had confirmed that, "Yeah, man, your transmission went out." Now, just think, my dad bought this truck brand new in '94, and this was probably 5 years later. Yeah, yeah, because I gotta think I got my license in 2000. So, yeah, this was, like, 5 years later, and I instantly went back to that moment where I was like, "Oh, Shern is gonna know what to do." That's why I went up know what to do. Sure knew immediately in that moment, like, "Yeah, yeah, man, you gonna drop it off in the morning or what you gonna do?" He said, "Well, hell, Imma have to pull in through the alley and then park it so I can just pull forward because I can't reverse." And to myself, "Ooh, my dad gonna be cussing because I know that's gonna be a whole lot of money. Cost
Yeah, it's
transmission."
a transmission. Yeah, transmission or engine, you're in trouble. Leave them alone.
Listen, and here we
Look, and then during that little era, I knew where growing up seeing Sherns and then the transition from Sherns because Sylvester and them lived 2 doors down.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
he saw, like, Sherm disappear.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
But I remember Sherm was, like, one of the first black-owned businesses I saw that did their own asphalt, like, black.
Yes! Yes! Oh my
He's the
gosh,
first.
yes!
Yeah. I told you we dusting these memories off, I didn't do this
Woo-wee! And when you
like you
said it,
got
it took me right back there. I was like, "Yes!
because you would
Yes!"
drive down there on that, cobblestone/brick road
Yep,
on
in front of our
Colfax,
high school, yes.
and well, that was way before we went to high school.
No, I'm just saying I was giving them because it's in front of
Okay,
Big
gotcha,
Harbor High School, yes.
gotcha.
There
Yeah,
you
right there on that corner, and, they'll be doing their asphalt, and you be like, "Man," like, it was before ARNT, ARNT, they were
Yeah,
doing their own. Yeah,
yep. Oh
yeah.
my
They
gosh.
were doing, like, maybe once a year, like, every summer, like, that's how you knew it was they because you could not, um they didn't take no cars for, like, a couple
Mm-mm.
days
No,
during that
they
period of
weren't
time.
parking them outside. If we couldn't park them in the garage,
Correct,
we ain't taking them.
correct, correct.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that one. I
Yes,
told you it took me
yes,
right down memory lane, just jogging like,
yes,
hold on. Yeah, yep,
yes.
yep, yep.
So I wanna quickly just bring this up because when we talk about the beauty shop, the barber shop, the restaurant, the corner store, which one holds the most memories? I went into, early vote on Sunday, and I had on a family reunion T-shirt. So my grandmother's side, the same Betty Jean, her dad's side of the family. So I had on a Hardin family T-shirt. This lady was like, "Well, my husband used to work with the Hardin at Bosch Braking Systems," and I was like, "Oh, probably not any of my family," but, I said, "Only Hardin that you probably know is Clarence," and the guy that was, verifying my address and everything, he said, "Oh, you related to those Hardins? Okay, yeah, I know Brother Hardin."
Mhm, 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 mhm.
But Brother Hardin, not only was he a pastor, he was also a barber. So I'll hear like Larry, our friend Larry, talk about it. My brother went to him faithfully. So it was so many people, so many young men that went to my Uncle Clarence because he said he was like, yeah, back in the day he was the one doing the razor cut. Like he said,
Mhm,
just out cold, like he was doing that by hand, but he wasn't doing
mhm.
no fades. Like he was doing mostly the ball phase. He wasn't doing the high top phase. He was like, listen,
'Cause they wasn't transitioning.
mm-mm.
They wasn't transitioning to that.
So Drill was like, I never had a fade. I've had the same haircut since high school. So, well,
Mm,
that's
mm.
accurate. But yeah, those beauty shops and the barber shops hold it's corner
I
stores, they definitely hold so many stories.
I actually, now you're jogging my memory now. So, um, one that I'm gonna throw out here is Mr. Benny. Mr. Benny's was the first store that I ever been to. Mr. Benny's was on Town Line, right across the street from my grandmother's house. Like, so I was under the age of 1, right down from New Bethel.
Mm.
I think it's like a vacant building. I haven't been in years to see it, but it kind of faded out as in because it went from Mr. Benny's to Jethro's, and Jethro's is actually my grandfather, who's married, um, my step grandfather, but it's my grandfather. Um, and so I remember when he became the owner, I remember somebody tried to rob him like one Sunday. Me and him, I would come and talk to him after church, and me and him was talking, and this dude came in there as if he was gonna rob him. And my grandfather talked to him like he was scum and told him to get out of there. He stood up to him like a man versus any weapon or anything. He said, "I wish you would do anything." And it was like one of those old school late '80s, early '90s where the aggressor just kind of cowers out
Yeah,
just
yeah,
because.
yeah.
I was like, that's a man. I was like, wow, like I just come down here, we mending fences. I didn't really grow up with my father around. This is his stepfather. And he was like, well, this is how he should act, but you should do this. So he was always kind of like mended in between. And to see him stand up to that person that was trying to rob him, that was impressive. The second one that I'm gonna mention is Lady T. Come on now. You mentioned barbershop and beauty salon. She
Yes.
had one of that one on Broadway and Empire.
Yeah.
That was Lady T. And
Broadway
Lady
Empire.
T
Yeah.
actually, she never, and I won't say quote unquote, she never was supposed to cut my hair because Tony, if you know, you know, Tony was that deal barber in the like late '80s all the way to like '93. You know, things happen. But Tony used to have all the kids. All you had that ball fade that Pastor Harden and
Yeah.
Joe wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Well, Tony was doing them, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he had the high time fade. Tony had the Gumby. So you already know. You know what I'm saying? Tony was light skinned with the Gumby in '93. Okay? He was the man. All right. So from that standpoint,
Was he
he was
giving
in
kid?
lady. You said what?
Was he giving kid of kid and play?
But he was older. Like he had a little beard and stuff. So he was a little older. You know, kid was fresh face.
Yes, 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 yes.
So Lady T, you know, she had that barbershop right across where BJ's is it BJ's still there?
No,
Nothing's there?
they shut that thing down.
Okay, so that's cool.
Mhm.
But
Like, mhm.
across from there, 30 years, 40 years ago, well, that's 26. Yeah. 40 years ago, 30 years ago, that mug was wanging. Well,
It was a
probably about 35 years ago because they shut it down just like BJ's over time. But that was the barber shop, and that was Lady T. Now, Lady T, there's a whole story for another time. I'm not going to defame anybody. So that was the second business, and then there was a third business that I was thinking of. But those are the first two that really came to mind. Because we always had some black businesses in the black community. There
did,
was always some
did.
entrepreneurs that was just like, "I'm gonna do this," and then they always had a group of investors, also known as friends, that was gonna support the movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even family, because I think about just really
What
quickly,
about
7
Robin Brothers?
sisters.
You said
Yeah.
what?
Friends are family, but 7 sisters, which was
Yeah.
owned by the
Yeah.
Napiers,
Time.
and
Yeah.
these are my cousins' family members, which so they went from having 7 sisters on Main Street in Ben Harbor to having Tim's, store on Broadway and Britain, which is still there. Like, they'll say, "Go get you a Tim's burger," which I've had one before, it's pretty delicious. But yeah, I think about that was, like, my first and, like, wow, this is a family-owned business. I could just walk a couple doors down and get my annihilators, my quarter juice, and my bag of chips.
Yeah, I think it's important to have those black businesses. One, because you do get an opportunity to barter. And I'm not saying that that's a good or a bad thing, but all the time you don't have it and you can build rapport. Rapport can be built by one having to gain a skill set to pay off that rapport. You
Mhm,
understand what I'm saying? So
mhm.
I just think that when we've given so much to just one consumer or a few consumers, we monopolize our own life, especially when it comes to business.
Right. Y'all, could you imagine that there's a foolishness files for this episode? Well, it
Yeah.
is.
Mm,
Lean into
okay.
it. Act like you know, block what you heard. So we're just gonna fly through a couple of these. Mhm.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
What's the most creative hustle you witnessed in your neighborhood growing up that was absolutely a black-owned enterprise?
Freeze cups. Freeze cups. And
Okay.
this is how we were. We were trying to
That's damn right. Great stuff. Good.
listen. The parents was like, they've always taught you, hey, watch whose house you eating from, all that. When it came to freeze cups, we was like, we ain't give a damn. We were going to everybody's house to figure out who had the best one. But there was a gentleman over
Not
there.
us.
Not y'all.
Not us. No, you can't go to everybody's house.
I mean, not everybody house. We had it down to 3.
Okay, that's 3 too many. You know, no, my grandma wasn't playing that. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Clearly,
Yeah,
we were living life on the edge.
I had to wait. I had to wait till I was in 7th grade, and 7th grade gave me an opportunity to find my creative hustle business, and it's a shout out to Danielle Gilbert because she was selling them Sour Powers out her backpack in 7th grade, and if you know, you know. Sour Powers wasn't that readily available. You had to go like Tackle Haven or a few places
That's
that had
true. That's
that had
true.
Sour
That's
Powers.
true. That's
But for
true.
some odd reason, Danielle Gilbert,
Nay,
shout
nay.
out to O1.
Nay, nay.
She was selling them Sour Powers, and it was enough that it was cutting into the sales of the school and what they were selling them snacks to us, and they ratted her out. I'll let her comment about it. They ratted her out, and they stopped her from selling those Sour Powers. Yeah, you weren't there yet. You was in 6th grade. That was 7th grade.
That's
Yeah.
probably when she said F Ben Harbor area schools.
No, yeah. Actually, actually. Yes. Yes, the next year she was I mean,
I'm out.
after 8th grade, she was out. She was out. Yep. We definitely gotta tag her on this
You said you can't hold this black woman down, this young lady down. She said, "I'm
one.
out of
No,
here."
no, no. Now I just seen, didn't her daughter just graduate from college, or she just
High
sent one
school.
off to
Yeah, she
college?
just sent her to
Yeah,
college, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That
come on
is
now.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Ha! Good.
What's something a what's something a black owned a business owner said to you that was completely unhinged and completely correct?
Ooh. Uh,
A little yin and a yang.
oh my gosh. Hmm, you know what? Imma go with I have to keep my stuff always close to me because they would rather steal from me than the white man.
Understood.
And you gotta think we were young people sitting on the stoop. 'Cause, yeah, we had stoops out in front of my grandparents' house, so we had an actual porch, and then it was outside with the stoop, and as little kids, we would just be sitting outside, just kinda shooting the stuff. We were on the main street in Ben Harbor, literally, we were on Main Street, and we saw my dad coming he just every time he would leave a property, he just coming around the corner with that big old ladder. We're like, "What? Why? What is going on?" He said, "They'd rather steal from me than the white man, so now I gotta protect my every time I leave one site to another." And in that moment as kids, we're like, "What it is?" But now the older I got, I was like, "Oh, okay. Alright." He said, "Everybody's not gonna be happy for you. They're not gonna be happy that you are the man in charge. They would rather for you to be the overseer versus the owner, and I gotta protect my asset."
Mhm.
So, yeah, that was something that as little kids, we was like, "The hell?" But then the older we got, like, "Oh, hmm, got it.
Of an understanding.
Totally accurate." Mhm. Mm,
Uh,
mm.
I'll give mine, all money is not good money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Give it you know,
yeah. That's a
all
great
money
one.
ain't good.
Just talked about that this past weekend too. Yeah, all money's not good money. It's okay to say no sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. On these hoes, on these hoes. Do you all have any? We love for you to chime in. The DMs stay open. The DMs stay open, the emails stay open. So if you do want to submit your own foolishness files, a story when it comes to a black owned business, any of the questions that we ask, or if you just like, you know what, I got something to get off my chest, please do tell podcast at gmail.com. It is open. The doors of Please Do Tell are open. And
Okay. Usually they pass money around now,
yeah.
so make sure that you, Cash App or Apple Pay as well. Because if not, in the church, if you say that the door to the church is open, if you don't play music, then I've heard when I was a kid that the offering wasn't blessed.
Oh. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
sir.
you have to
Mm.
give praises while you receive blessings.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I was
A
raised. I don't
cheerful
know about
giver.
nobody else.
You gotta be a cheerful giver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Psalms 100 say, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord,
Mm,
all ye land."
there we go.
You gotta make sure you keep
Mm.
even after the comma, and say, "All ye land." That was one I used to use all the time
I bet
for, choir rehearsal. That was my favorite one.
you and Brother Buchanan.
He did that one?
No, I'm just saying that's how you learn most you said when it comes to fundraising, that's who you learned it from.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. Brother Buchanan can if Brother Buchanan could, God rest his soul,
Yeah.
like, because I felt like I was standing next to him.
Yeah.
I learned so much from Mr. Buchanan as a kid, you know, just about fundraising, but that scripture I actually learned from, Deacon Miles Stansberry, Yeah.
Yes,
Deacon
yes, Promethean's
Deacon
granddad. Yep.
correct, which is actually the nephew of my grandmother. But because I live with my grandmother.
It's like
Yeah, twisted, But I live with my grandmother, and he used to that was his Aunt Vera. That's Aunt Vera, that's Aunt Vera. And my grandma always she was that female that all if you was a male, she was all the males loved her. Like she was always gonna be supportive of men. Well, she would take up for me and as a kid, and he would start giving me like tasks. She was like, "Oh, I want him to be a deacon." He was like, it was one of those moments. I was like, but he taught me things. In my head, if I had to give a Chat GPT image, I would have. This is what I thought he did. Okay, like he was ready to take, but from a realistic standpoint, I learned so much. I learned how to he gave me an opportunity on how to study. Like it's nothing like we study for school Monday through Friday.
mhm.
But you go to Sunday school, but you ain't studying for Sunday school. You know what I mean? Growing up. But because my grandma wanted me to be a junior deacon, like I couldn't get up there and stumble over these words. You know what I'm saying? And so I remember one time, and I think I told this story where it's in the scripture where you talk about this one beget, this one beget. Well, the names were off, and I should have done my research ahead of time. And so every time after that, I either did make a joyful noise unto the Lord, or you lands is my starting scripture, or I researched before I got in front of a mic
Mhm.
because I wasn't gonna be embarrassed, and so that embarrassment of me stumbling over those words not kinda, my grandma took it as an embarrassment, and it gave him that moment, so I never, so you never know how people can motivate you, so all that for that. Surprise!
Woo! I mean, you
Surprise!
all that is how you flip that switch from Fluxus files to rapid fire.
Shoo! 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 I gotta get a better gun. I gotta get a better gun.
Just, a little sparkler here and there. Okay. It's all right. All right.
Is it on me first or you?
To you. So be
Okay.
prepared. Black owned business you would promote right now. Name it. No hesitation.
Story Salon. Something you always buy black on, the non-negotiable.
Skincare. Something you know you should buy black owned but keep defaulting elsewhere. Be honest.
Something that I should buy black on, and they keep defaulting else. Underwear.
Mhm, mhm.
The black business owner in your life who deserve more credit than they get.
My mother, she had Millie's Boutique downtown.
I do
One of the
remember.
first, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, if you're going to start a black-owned business tomorrow, what would it be?
That's a really good question. But I'm all about the job service. Like, I can
Mhm.
find you a job. So,
Okay.
what's Black Business Month in one word for August?
Community.
Okay.
What does the black business ecosystem need most right now? One
I don't know what
answer.
ecosystem means,
Mm.
but I will stab into it. No, but, influx of investment outside of just being our own people. I think that the American government should invest a percentage of if we're not gonna do reparations, then you need to invest a percentage into black business annual. What's a black-owned business that has changed your life? Name it and say how.
I believe it was called Golden Crown Electric. that is the business that my dad and his best friend, Ed Anderson, um, both of them are ancestors now. But after retiring from Bosch, my dad's trade was plumbing, and Mr. Anderson's was he was an electrician. And so just think, being the youngest, both of them are now retired. That you need some extra income, so that was helping me go through undergrad.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yep,
Never knew that.
yep, and that's one little quick story. This is how we knew that the elevator at Brotherhood, Terrell Atterbury's daddy's church. Brotherhood over there, Brotherhood of all nations, Kojic. But there is clearly a sign that says a certain weight limit for the elevator. And clearly they did not abide by those, by that weight limit. So my dad and Mr. Anderson had to go by there and actually fix the elevator because someone got on with a wheelchair and then an additional person got on. He said, so it sounds like y'all wasn't reading what the weight limit is. Y'all was just doing what y'all want to do and now y'all stuck in there. So, yes. This
That is a weird story. Ah! I hope that wasn't my grandma,
well, no,
cause you know she only got on the elevator because she had to pee, and now all of a sudden she done got caught on this elevator. You
because
know, she done wet up that mother's outfit. Wet
I
it up.
I don't care how my dad is going. I just listen. He said, and there was two big people on there too. I just couldn't understand. Like on top of the wheelchair and the person, one more person wanted to get out. You couldn't just meet them downstairs. I said, okay, okay. But that was of that generation that just said whatever they wanted.
Well, once they got there.
Right.
You know, oh, they grew up, they would take a tongue lashing publicly. You know, that was something that we never got
Yes.
into. You
Yes.
ain't finna, "Do you want me to
Yes.
tell your mama?" "Well, go tell her." You know what I'm saying? That was our generation. Now, my
Absolutely.
mama generation, somebody, "I'll tell your mama." They be quiet as a mouse because they may whip them. And
Uh,
then your mama whipped them, then the grandma whipped them, then the dad. Everybody had frustration because of this Jim Crow and civil rights. So everybody wanted to whip on you. But when it was our turn, when they talk about better integration, we was like, "You ain't talking to me like that." That's why all of a sudden they had to come up with them commercials talking about some child protective service. They weren't talking about that when my mama was a kid. Shoot, I'm just saying.
at
But anyway,
all. At
anyway.
all.
Mm.
Woo, y'all, we survived. Well, we survived. We survived. Woo! So Black Business Month in August, but the work of building, supporting, and sustaining Black businesses is a year-round act, and it is every dollar spent intentionally. So every referral given, every review left, I know somebody that leads to a contract, and I know that I mean I've talked about it before. Jeffrey being in a position of being able to hire me when I moved back when I ain't have no job to
Allegedly.
I mean okay.
You've been working on your other stuff all the time. What you talking about? You always talk about that BS. You ain't never had, you didn't have no job. No, no, but she, no, she just saying what she want to say, y'all.
I'm
Anyway, my
sorry.
bad. I ain't mean to cut you off,
I mean,
but when
clearly,
I, when my grandma said, when you hear a lie in the air, you better catch it.
is the truth Ruth?
You better catch it before it gets too far.
Y'all, listen, this podcast is 6 years old, and we ain't going nowhere. You know, from building our own, lanes and just kinda figuring out, like, what is what, but just know, build something, support something, tell somebody about something Black-owned that changed your life. That is the assignment, not just for August, but for always. Since I'm trying to end it on a high note with Jeffrey just like, "What? I'm finna"
I ain't said nothing. Don't, what you mean?
boy,
See, y'all see how she be on me? I ain't said anything.
okay, Jeffrey any final thoughts? And then where can the good people find you?
Well, allegedly, no. As y'all see, y'all today, I had to get a little warm up on these black businesses. But once you start to think about how impactful black businesses have been around,
Mhm.
whether it was when I played baseball and saw, like, I remember, shout out, Mr. Luty. Mr. Luty's a white guy that decided that he was going to not just be the board president, white guy, not just going to be the board president, but he wanted to invest in the youth and the community. He ran that baseball league for a year or 2 before, you get more and more black, um as you get more and more black representation and we want black leadership. And he was there to make that proper transition to the Joneses, Gary Jones. That was our transition. That was seeing an actual business.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because it is a nonprofit, it's a LLC. You're running an actual organization. How do I know that? It motivated me enough 20, 25 years later with Ben Harbor Baseball Association, BHBA. If you know, you know. Shout out to Danny Jennings. But it gives you that entrepreneurship spirit, whether you decide to go to college or not, because it's not your fault of it's not your fault if you can read well at 10. It's your parents' fault. So a lot of times we're not set up for success. So from that standpoint, I like how these organizations with the church, sports organization for you, taxes,
Mm.
local restaurant, it all gave a kid a vision of seeing that I can actually own something and not just be a number. So that's what I got from black businesses. So I appreciate you, Renika, for even because I didn't even know it was Black Business Month in the month of August. So I appreciate that. The good people can find me at Mr. Fantastic World at MrFantastic World. Or you can find us on the If You Know, You Know late night show on Facebook at 10:15 p.m. And we will sign off at 10. Well, no, we will sign on. Excuse me, not sign off. We will sign on at 10:15 p.m. Even if you just see us as a little backdrop, we look, if you want to get better, you got to do better. And that's on me.
Yeah.
You heard
You
the word.
heard? I am Ronika, Ronnika .Williams on Instagram and Threads. Excuse me, I am Ronika Williams on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn as well. I'll be out there at least once a month on LinkedIn to promote or to at least publish what we're doing with Story Salon with the newsletters and everything. But listen, and please do tell goes over there too. But if you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet, do so now and share with a homie that can also subscribe because I know they love stories as well. And then if you are an
Yeah.
audio person on the go, you're like, "Oh my gosh, where can I listen?" Apple, Spotify, or wherever you consume your podcast. You can just put us right in Google. Please do tell podcast and we'll pop right up. But
She ain't lying.
I'm just
Look, I
saying.
was talking I'm gonna, pause you for a second. You ain't heard this one before.
Oh,
My aunt told me yesterday, she said, "You know what? Every time I pull up, any app, I see Renika's face." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, it seems like I need to be doing what she doing." So I just wanna let you know, you being seen.
so
You being seen.
when the
You
algorithm,
outside, okay? Even if you inside sharing, we think you outside. No doubt, no
well,
doubt.
you know what? Until next time, y'all gonna see a little bit more of me and
Okay.
hopefully Jeffrey too.
Eh,
But
look,
ain't no ducking it. We outside. We outside. But don't
I
forget to tell a homie, to tell a homie, so we can all be homies. And until next time, Jeffrey, what you got? Cause I'm ready to holler.
I
Holla.